While looking for inspiration for this video, I stumbled upon this stunning website featuring an incredible 3D landing page paired with a super minimal scroll-based text animation. It has this impressive 3D model that rotates as you scroll, and when you reach a section, you can see the paragraph is revealed in such a slick and captivating way. If you are into modern web experiences like I am, you have probably noticed similar text reveal animation across tons of websites. So I decided to recreate a similar experience, incorporating a custom 3D model with Three.js and implementing the same smooth text reveal animation using ScrollTrigger and GSAP. In this video, I'll walk you through step by step showing how to add any 3D model to your web page using Three.js, animate it on scroll, split text into lines using a library called SplitType, and bringing it all to life with ScrollTrigger and GSAP. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. To unlock access to the source code for this project and hundreds of others, check out the Pro membership via the link in the description. Alright, let's dive in. Let's start with the assets. Now, I'm no expert in designing 3D models from scratch, so I rely on a site called Sketchweb to find free 3D models. It's a great resource with tons of options. For this project, I'm using this specific model and I've linked it in the description below for you. I've downloaded the model in GLB format and placed it inside the assets folder to keep things organized. Also, make sure you include all the necessary CDNs as shown on the screen to ensure you have got everything you need. With that covered, let's move on to the HTML setup. First, we need a container to render our 3D scene, so I've added a div with the class name model. Next, to make the page visually engaging, I've included some placeholder content. Let's start with a simple navbar that has a logo and a link. Now, we'll create three main sections: the intro, the archive, and the outro. In the intro section, I've added three header row divs. Each row contains an H1. For the middle row, I've included a placeholder paragraph element, same as the original website. Moving on to the archive section, we'll first add a header which I've kept as a single paragraph element. Then we'll create individual archive items. Each item consists of an H2 title and a div with the class archive info. Inside this div, I've added multiple paragraph elements to display additional details, again mimicking the style of the original design. I've duplicated this structure a few times and updated the text. Finally, the outro section is divided into two parts: the outro copy and the footer. In the outro copy, I've added an H2 with some placeholder text to summarize the project. For the footer, I've included two paragraph elements to wrap things up. And that's it for the HTML setup. Now let's move on to styling to bring this structure to life. First, reset all the default styles by removing margins and paddings from all elements and setting their box sizing to border box for consistent sizing. For the HTML and body, set their width and height to cover the full viewport, apply a dark background color, and use a clean sans serif font for the entire page. The 3D model container is positioned as fixed, ensuring it remains visible while scrolling through the page. In the navigation bar, set it to a fixed position at the top of the viewport. Style it as a flex container to evenly space the logo and link, adding padding for a clean look. Each section is set to cover the full viewport width and height with relative positioning, making them containers for their respective content. For the intro section, use a flex column layout to vertically center its content. Each header row is styled as a horizontal flex container with a gap to space out the elements. Add uppercase text for paragraphs and limit their width for a clean layout. In the archive section, extend its height to 200% of the viewport for a long scroll effect. Style it as a vertical flex container with a gap between items. The archive header uses italic text with a distinct font. Each archive item has a title style with a light color and info wrapped in a flex container for alignment. For the outro section, the outro copy includes a large heading style with uppercase text and placeholder paragraphs. The footer is a flex container with evenly spaced text elements. Finally, I'll paste some CSS from Lenis documentation as well, because we'll be incorporating smooth scroll for our page later. And that's it. Let's move on to the next phase. Let's start by adding smooth scrolling. I've initialized Lenis and added an event listener to update ScrollTrigger whenever Lenis detects a scroll. You can find this setup in the documentation. Next, we need a 3D scene to render our model. For that, we'll be using Three.js. I've created a new scene and added a perspective camera. The camera's field of view is set to 75 with an aspect ratio matching the viewport and a range from 0.1 to 1000 units for near and far clipping. For rendering, I'm using WebGL renderer. It's configured with anti-aliasing for smoother edges and transparency to blend the 3D model seamlessly with the background. I've also enabled shadow mapping for realistic lighting and adjusted the tone mapping for a polished look. Finally, I've appended the renderer's DOM element to the model container. Next, I'll add some lighting. This really depends on the model you are using, but let me tell you I've added 3 types of lights. Ambient light provides overall lighting. Directional light mimics the sunlight with adjustable intensity and direction. Hemisphere light adds natural gradient lighting for the top and bottom. Next, I've created a function called BasicAnimate. This function continuously renders the scene using camera's perspective. The render call tells Three.js to display the current state of the 3D scene from the perspective camera. To make this function run on every frame, I use requestAnimationFrame function. This creates a smooth animation loop, ensuring the renderer updates as the browser refreshes. For now, it's just rendering an empty scene, but this is the foundation for adding our 3D model and animations. Next, I'm loading a 3D model using GLTF Loader, a utility provided by Three.js to load GLTF or GLB files. These are common formats for 3D models because they are compact and efficient. I pointed it to the chat.glb file in the assets folder. When the loader finishes, it calls the provided callback function and gives us the loaded model as our scene. I store this in a variable called model so we can manipulate it later. To fine-tune the appearance of the model, I traverse through all its child nodes. Each part of the model is represented as a node. If the node is a mesh, a geometric object, I will apply custom material properties like metalness and roughness. These control how shiny or matte the surface looks. The map intensity, which adjusts how much of the environment lighting reflects on the surface. Additionally, I enable shadows for each mesh, ensuring the model can cast and receive shadows in the scene for a more realistic effect. To ensure the model is perfectly centered in the scene, I calculate its bounding box using box3 function. The bounding box gives me the dimensions of the model. Then I find the center of this box and adjust the model's position to align with the scene's origin by subtracting the center from its position. This step is crucial for accurate placement, especially if the model was designed off-center. And once the model is ready, I add it to the scene. To ensure the camera is positioned correctly, I calculate the size of the model using its bounding box. The largest dimension determines how far the camera needs to be positioned to fit the model within the viewport. I multiply the max dimension by 1.75 to add some extra space, ensuring the model doesn't appear too close. I also slightly rotate the model to give it a dynamic starting angle. Then, I'll call a function playInitialAnimation, which will animate the model scale to its normal size using GSAP. Once the model is ready, I stop the basic rendering loop by cancelling basic animate. Then, I start a more advanced animation loop called animate, where we'll add interactive features like floating and scroll-based rotation. Before starting the animation, I scale the model down to 0. This makes it invisible initially, allowing us to animate its size as a reveal effect. Now let's add some animations to bring our 3D model to life. First, I have defined a few variables. The floating motion is controlled by two variables, float amplitude and float speed. These determine how much and how quickly the model moves up and down, creating a subtle organic animation. I've calculated the total scrollable height of the page, and using this, I map the user scroll's position to normalize a value between 0 and 1. As the user scrolls through the page, we track their progress using Lenis. The current scroll value updates dynamically, giving us the current scroll position. To make this floating effect happen, I calculate the vertical offset using a sine wave. This gives the movement a smooth oscillation. The Y property is updated with the calculated value, making the model float continuously. Next, I have introduced a scroll-based interaction. This value called scroll progress determines how far the user has scrolled through the page. Using the scroll progress, I have added a rotational effect to the model. As you scroll, the model rotates along its x-axis, creating a dynamic tilt. The rotation is proportional to the scroll progress and is combined with a base tilt angle for a more polished look. Finally, the scene is rendered continuously in the animation loop, ensuring that all updates, floating, scrolling, and rotating are displayed in real time. Next, we'll add animations to the text elements to complete the effect. First, I have selected the intro, archive, and outro sections to structure interactions across different parts of the page. For the outro heading, I am using a library called SplitType to break the text into individual lines. Each line is wrapped with a custom line class, making it easier to target for animations. Inside each line, I have added a span element, which starts with a vertical offset of 70 pixels. This creates the starting position for the animation. Using GSAP and ScrollTrigger, I've created a scroll-based animation tagged to the outro section. When the outro section enters the viewport, the text lines smoothly move up into view. Each line animates with a slight delay using the stagger property, creating a cascading reveal effect. If you scroll back up, the animation reverses, moving the text back down to its original position. The scroll trigger itself is configured to trigger when the outro section reaches the center of the viewport. It plays and reverses seamlessly based on the user's scroll direction. This text animation combined with the 3D model effects, adding another layer of interactivity, making the entire experience more dynamic and engaging. And that's it. Hope you found the video helpful. See you in the next one.